Welcome in, everybody, to the 35th episode of Whispers in Silence, the beginning of the third act of our story, and the first episode of Chapter 7, The Divine Era. Last time on Whispers in Silence, the dramatic clash at Scala's Wrath took a turn that none of the Whispers in Silence could have predicted. Laki herself appeared to stop Ceres from plummeting into the surface of Cyrene, but also surrendered Sanguine Moon to Scala. The Whispers in Silence battled with the dread demon of despair and eventually emerged victorious against the Hell Plague. As they did, Laki rose a great crystal tree out of the Forgotten Island that halted Ceres' approach and encapsulated the small moon. Yet things did not end so simply, as Scala revealed the gems she'd collected of the party's goddess allies. Absorbing them, she transformed into Dia Scala, the goddess of Cyrene. And after sealing Laki away, she turned her attention to the party. But they were saved at the last minute by Paige, who flung them 10 years into the future.
Dun, dun, dun.
That is indeed where we will pick up tonight. When last we left off, you had all arrived on a right near a lake in a field of soft reeds where you were resting, and you encountered a young blonde-haired lady and a bodyguard of hers, also with blonde hair. After the bodyguard intimated that she was in danger, she giggled and told her that their friends had returned, and she said how happy she was, or how fortuitous your timing was, Whispers in Silence. And indeed, this young lady now approaches you, stepping past the bodyguard, and she smiles warmly at you all. I am uncertain how much you remember, but as I'm sure you may be guessing, I am Yuki Sunvale. It is very nice to see you all again. And this is my overly protective bodyguard, Melisandre.
Yuki?
Yes. Melisandre gives well, I wouldn't say she gives a look, but she turns her head in the direction of Yuki. I wouldn't have to be overprotective if you were more careful, my lady. And we've actually met as well. She looks in your direction now. Thank you again for all the kindness that you showed me.
Wait. I would say where are we, but I probably should say what time are we?
Yuki nods at that. Indeed, when would be far more relevant. It's been about 10 years since we've seen you.
What?
How?
I cannot say entirely, other than I believe the goddess of the arts sent you to the future. Or to our present, I suppose. Be more accurate. I'm sure you have many questions and much to process, but I'm sorry. It's really not safe for you to do so here. The Sin Hunters will be upon us ere long, so if you'll accompany me, I can take you somewhere safe to grieve or process.
The what exactly? The Sin Hunters?
What?
Yes, the servants of the goddess. Had so long to prepare for this, I would think I would have something better to say to you. She looks over to Melisandre. Melly, signal the troops to retreat. We can't afford to lose too many of them here. Tell them to rendezvous at the river and that I will meet with them as soon as possible. Melisandre nods and disappears back into the shadows of the tree line. Follow me and I'll explain what I can as we go.
Okay. Looping back, where are we?
She takes you through the patch of trees nearby, and actually very quickly you begin to recognize where you are. There is, on the other side of this little grove of trees, there is a ruined city that you all visited quite some time ago, though, well, I guess not as long for you all. New Alcana certainly doesn't seem quite so evil as it did last time you were here. The oppressive, terrifying, spine-tingling feels of this place have faded away. with time. But the city remains ruined nonetheless. And she nods. Alcana has been one of our, or New Alcana has been one of our staging grounds. We started clearing it out because we believed this to be one of the places you might reappear.
Who
How
is
did
we? And yeah, how did you know?
Yes, we would be the Whispers in Silence, which I understand might be a weird thing for you to say. The Whispers in Silence is what we call the Resistance in this era. Kind of a moniker to you all, actually. And, I didn't know precisely where you'd show up, but it had to be somewhere out of the way. It can't be in any of the major cities because, well, that would be a very bad place for you to show up. So I figured it had to be somewhere you'd visit on your journeys, and this was one of the few places that is still accessible, so I figured this would be where you'd show up.
But,
Or rather, if it wasn't, there was no hope for you anyway.
but where are we?
You're in New Alcana. I believe, 10 years ago for me, but just a few months ago for you, you fought a Scala cult here.
Right. It's where we met
Among
Callie.
other things?
Right, this is where you met Soraya.
That too.
She gets like a really
I
excited look on her
didn't.
face.
Right.
Steps away.
Apologies. Yes, not you. Fala, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you'll follow me, and she motions you all over towards one of the ruined buildings. Inside, you see a circle inscribed in stone. Numerous elvish symbols are carved into it, symbols of wind. And as you all step on it, they all begin to glow, and she starts concentrating to cast her recall spell. And for a moment, the world goes white. As your eyes open, you can hear the sounds of birds and insects outside. You are in a roughly circular room, and the walls look to be made from one solid cylindrical piece of wood. It only takes you a moment to realize that you must be inside an extremely large and old tree. You are all standing on a circle similar to the one you were on in New Alcana, though this one is skillfully burned into the wood beneath your feet. The room itself is simply decorated, with some tapestry on the walls and an altar to Laki at the front of it. There is a large door made from woven thatch to the south of you. The smell of wet moss and wood fills your nostrils, and Varys, for you, I would say it is a comforting scent. Yuki doesn't seem to waste any time, and she makes her way over towards the door. Come on, we'll get you set up at the inn, and then I can answer your questions, she says, and pushes the door open.
I'm gonna glance at the tapestries. Do I see anything that stands out to me?
Go ahead and make a history check at advantage. Yes, I would say you do recognize some of the tapestries. Some of them are from the Order of Oak and Ash, in fact, depicting the mother and the father. There are also some, one that is a symbol of a finger over a pair of lips, which you don't know the meaning of that one. There is also a symbol of both flora and fauna in here as well.
Something catching your eye, Varys?
Think we're in the gods' grasp.
And indeed, as she opens the door, bright sunlight pours in, and you can see the city before you. Built into the very trees of the God's Grasp forest, this city is shockingly large. Rope bridges and pathways have been constructed between the trees higher up, though you are on the ground level at the moment. Stones have been laid as pathways between different trees, and there was clearly an afternoon rain which has given way to the evening sun. Varys, It only takes you a moment to realize it. It doesn't look the same, not even close, but you're home. Indeed, under the new construction and the liveliness of this place, you can see many of the remnants that have been left undisturbed of your order's home. And in your entire life, you have never seen your home as lively as it is right now. People of all different walks of life and backgrounds are milling about, going about their daily lives. Some people are gardening, others are training in combat, still others are studying. You see leatherworkers, weavers, alchemists, all different kinds of people make up this place. It's not what it was before, but your home is alive again. Yuki smiles warmly at you all as she kind of glances back while she walks. Welcome to Ashoke, the last truly free city on Serene.
Incredible.
It is.
Did you say free city?
Yes.
And I know you mentioned goddess earlier.
Yes.
I-
Much has changed in 10 years. Oop, did my camera freeze?
I
it's
imagine
Go ahead.
I imagine much has.
Un momento, gotta fix camera.
I'll say so. Free city, and I guess that means she has taken some control then.
Here, though.
No, here she's been resisted.
Just like before.
True. I guess history does rhyme sometimes.
Okay.
It does.
Yuki kind of nods back at you all. Yes, there is so much to explain. Where to even begin? Let's get to the inn, and we can sit around a table and talk properly.
Very well.
She leads you up a ramp into the trees and takes you along a long bridge that seems to be making its way towards the center of town, where there is a very, very large tree, one of the largest in the area. As you walk along, you can see a couple different buildings down on the ground level. You see what looks like a forge that looks very lively. There is even a school that you can see over in the distance, although you note that the people in this school are of all ages. The youngest ones look to be 11 or 12, and the oldest probably in their 20s. There is also, I would say, the most out of place thing you see is a massive black stone. It is probably 20 feet long and probably 8 feet across. It is a monumentally big piece of black polished stone that no way is natural here. It's very weirdly out of place.
It's laying on its side, or it's erect like an obelisk?
It's erect like a wall, I would say.
What is that?
Yuki glances down, and a forlorn look comes across her face at that. That is our memorial wall. We remember those who have been lost in the resistance.
So everyone's names are here, who have...
I can't say everyone's. Everyone who has someone to put their name on there, I would say, is there. It's hard to know all who have been lost. That wall would have to be much bigger.
Flaw will immediately start walking over towards it.
Rialto will follow her.
Yuki puts a hand up as if to say something, but then realizes what is she to say. Very well. Let me get the right song up then. As I say, this is perhaps the most out-of-place item in this entire area. It's very quiet and peaceful around here. There's not people milling about here like there would be in other places, though you do see someone come along occasionally, bring a flower, and you don't see them leave it at the base of the obelisk, interestingly. They actually touch the obelisk and seem to open what looks to be a small box and drop the item in and then push it shut. Which, as you're approaching, Yuki explains to you. Each of the names on there is actually a memorial box, and you can leave something for them, or if you have something that belonged to them, you can put that there. There are quite a number of names on there, some of which will not be easy for you all to see, I am certain. Rialta, I wish to tell you, Martine's name is on there, but he is not dead.
She at first looks down and then snaps her head back up, very confused. What?
She gets a very complicated look on her face. He is not the same. I actually haven't seen him in 8 years now.
8 years.
But to my knowledge, he's still alive. I haven't heard otherwise.
So then why is his name up there?
He insisted he's dead.
I see.
But she nods and kind of stands politely. Feel free to browse. And
I'm going to look to see if there's any names that I recognize.
why don't you all give me a perception check? There's a lot of names on it. There's probably thousands of names on this thing.
I'm gonna say Falah is looking for Saria's name.
Oops. Well, I only rolled an 8.
Maybe I can help you out.
12.
22 for me.
I would say that with Rialta's 22, you're able to find all the names of relevance.
Okay.
14, yeah.
So here's some of the names that you all see. The first one that you notice right next to Martine's name is Onredo Tsukiko Sunvale. You also find Captain Lorraine Alspeth. You find Michaela Shar. You see Captain Rhea Skillbrighter on there. Commander Jockin Sagelin is on that list.
Oh.
You see Callie Page on there. And just beneath her name, you see Nibris, Jean, Neris, and Asha of the Verde.
Oh.
Rialta,
Yeah.
after searching for a little while, you find Saren and Opal Folknir.
Okay.
Falah, you see Gentleman Jessica Silver on there. You also see Brox Ottelborn on there. Captain Raven Lyra is on that list. Melody. You see Celesta of the Ivory on there. Their last few names that you all recognize are Dr. Giselle Vanna, Lieutenant Aubrey Shen, Lieutenant Arel Rayner, and then there is one that you notice at the bottom that says the countless lives lost in the Gnomish genocide.
Oh no.
Michaela,
Well, damn.
sorry. Yeah.
So Michaela, but twin sister is not on there?
Do you ask Yuki that?
Yeah.
She nods. Mira is actually here. She works in the inn.
Makes sense.
I'll ask her about Odile
We have not.
and then Saria.
She nods. As far as I know, Odile is not among the dead. Saria doesn't go by Saria anymore. She goes by Lana now. and she is alive as well.
And she looks like she has lost all of this tension she has been carrying pretty much since they arrived.
Yes.
There, there should have been a girl in the Resistance. I guess a woman now. Kelsey. I don't see that name on here.
Well, no, Kelsey works here, so she wouldn't be on there. Kelsey is one of the Whispers in Silence, actually.
Oh.
She points over to the forge that you saw earlier. She runs that forge.
Varys looks at that forge like if he were to walk into it, he'd probably get flung 10 more years into the future.
Makes sense.
And just nods and goes, "Good."
Mm-hmm. Melody drops to her knees and lets out a cry of pain.
Realta will stand by her. Just kind of
Little Varys.
quietly place a hand on her shoulder.
Caldana's gonna stare for a minute and then... My mom, my half-siblings.
I can't say for certain if they're alive or not, but no one has reported them dead. They means one of two things. They either died and no one was able to make the report, or they are of Scala's faithful.
What does that mean?
Just as it sounds. They are among the majority of people. Most people consider themselves worshippers of Scala.
Majority.
Hmm?
The majority?
Most, yes. We are the precious few that remain.
Doesn't she kill them?
We will discuss that this evening. She kneels down next to Melody and gives her a hug. I had the pleasure of meeting Ms. Ambrosia when she came and delivered the news and had the name put on the wall. She said that if I was right and that you returned, that she wanted me to tell you that she would be waiting for you. She is in Mitra Centauran, last I heard. Operating as a spy for us, to be clear. She's not one of Scala's faithful.
Have you heard of any other Folkneers? Perhaps a Sapphire or a Celeste?
I have, as a matter of fact. They're both here.
Oh.
Celeste, she goes over and opens the box that had that Saren and Opal's name on it. She opens it, and inside there are 2 matching wedding rings. She brought this offering for them when Heaven's Reach Observatory fell.
I'm glad she's here.
She is. Sapphire is a teacher over in the academy, and Celeste is working as a nurse, actually.
Huh. Well, I'm sure seeing me is going to come as a bit of a shock, but I'll do that later.
I think seeing you all is going to give a great many people a very nice boost of, I don't know what, confidence, hope.
Fala will open up the one for Jesse and place.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Inside Jesse's, there is simply a long, thin cigar.
She's going to place an extremely dull, battered, old gold coin in there.
Seems fair. And you do. Do you want to check Brux's while you're at it?
No, but she will hold the hilt of her sword against it briefly for a moment and bow her head.
As you do, you hear in your head, I suppose I always knew that the death of an insidiae was going to be less than glamorous. But I feel good about my choices. Yuki nods.
I think we all probably need. Well, we shall get to the end, I suppose.
Of course.
Melody
Is
or
Carmen's name on there?
You'll not find Carmen's
Ooh.
name on there. She is our leader.
Oh,
When
Really?
when everything fell apart, Martine would have. Well, Carmen began to organize a resistance, and she had nowhere to do it until Kelsey offered up the God's Grasp as a home base. Martine came eventually to hear them out, but chose not to stay and work with us. Said he could do more on his own, and he left. But no, Carmen is still here among us. She probably is out on a mission at the moment, but she'll probably be back soon.
name Ferris will look for is Aaron, the farmer from the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
who was an exiled member of or a left member of my order.
You do find his name on there, and that of his family.
I'll put a hemlock petal, since hemlock always makes sure that I have some somewhere on my person, even if I don't want it.
Yeah.
In the box.
Absolutely.
Melody, do you think you can stand? I know this is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Says that she cannot hear us or anyone at the moment.
He is lost in the swirl of emotion.
Reasonably so.
Then I guess we leave her here.
No, Fala will kneel down by her and grab her, take her hands in her own. I know it's not easy, but you can't stop. We have to go on.
I'll sit her other side and take her other hand. Where else? I know there's been kind of a loss, but we're gonna stand here together.
Yuki glances at you and has a moment of like understanding, like she's had a revelation of something, and her lip curls into like a half smile, and she shakes her head as if to conceal rolling her eyes, as she goes over and opens up the two of them. She opens up two of the drawers. One of them is the one belonging to Callie, and inside she takes out a stack of papers, a manuscript bound, and the other one belonging to Nibris and his family, in which she takes out a folded up piece of cloth canvas. And she walks over to you all. Before she died, she told me that these would be for you. And I did not understand why or how, but I think I get it now. And she hands you the manuscript. And it says on the front of it, Callie's Guide to Gods and Goddesses, Volume 3. And you quickly realize that it is, like, barely started, it's definitely not finished. It's like 20 pages in, maybe. But it was the beginning of her final work. And the other one is a drawn picture, a beautifully illustrated picture of a dragonborn man that you immediately recognize as Nybris. And next to him, an elven woman with blonde hair. And then also in the picture are 2 kids. Both of them look to be elven. And one of them is climbing on Callie, who is kind of off to the side of the picture, kind of offering a half smile and a wave, as if she feels a little bit uncomfortable to be there, but was welcome nonetheless.
They were an unusual family, but they were a family.
And more than that, they believed. They, to the very end, did not betray their beliefs or one another. And it's people like them that we built this wall for, to remember them, to make our fight, as hopeless as it seems sometimes, mean something.
Rialto will look through the manuscript. Is there anything that jumps out?
Not much. There's a overly pragmatic and self-indulging foreword from Callie in it that kind of makes you think she's a little full of herself. But the piece overall, it's got a couple of pieces on like some things that she was learning about dread demons before she died, but all stuff you'd be pretty well aware of at this point.
Is there a chat? Anything she wrote about God killing? Got any God killing sections in there?
You know, that was not
Got
something
any-
that was a major focus of any of her books.
What about a deific super being that was once a demon? You got any
Hmm.
part about that? Any
No,
weaknesses?
unfortunately. That's probably
to-
what she would have written about if she hadn't died when she did.
Oh, see, now that is
ironic.
unfortunate. What about not even like maybe they're like allergic, to, like they got hay fever or something.
Yeah.
Got nothing.
Well, I certainly have many, many, many questions that I suppose we'll have to wait till we get to the inn.
Yes. If you don't mind, let me take you over, and we can talk more privately. She takes you back up the wooden ramp onto the walkway and across towards this massive tree in the center of town. Leading you up to it, she kind of, I don't want to say she's hedging herself, but she kind of nods. It's not really an inn the way you think of it. Like, when new people find their way here, it's where we set them up until we figure out how to integrate them better into the city and get them a proper home made. But we've tried to keep some of the comforts of the past anyway, but there's not much need for, like, an inn. Yeah, basically. But as she pushes open the thatched door of this massive tree, the inside has been carved into a bar, not unlike what you'd have expected in taverns of old. All around, people are eating and drinking, finding some form of enjoyment in their lives. There's a tiefling and an elf singing on stage, and behind the bar is an Uruk that you recognize. She's aged somewhat since you last saw her, but Shara Soulborn is here. And next to her is Karina, smiling and serving drinks to people.
Well, this sure.
Is that's the one from like way back at the Widow's Revenge?
As you mentioned that, she nods. Welcome to the Widow's Resilience.
not that Falon knows that.
No, but
Fair enough, yeah.
she welcomes you into the Widow's Resilience and nods. It is so good to see you all again. And Karina looks over, and even to Caldana kind of offers a smile and a bow of her head. Welcome. It's been a while since, where was it last? In Winter's Grip, right?
Indeed. A decade for you all and only a couple months for us.
It must be strange.
I feel
Please.
like everyone knew that we were going to travel through time but us.
Agreed.
Yuki kind of looks embarrassed. Kind of, actually.
How is that possible?
Well, that's sort of my fault and sort of Callie's fault. uh, well, here. And she takes you over. You get a seat. There are... Karina comes to get your drink orders. Drinks are limited in this era, but water, juice, a basic ale, even a wine would be a possibility.
Just
Get a
water
proper
for me.
acorn ale.
Whatever the strongest looking option is.
Okay,
Probably moonshine.
probably ale. We'll do that then. Okay.
Just water, please.
Water. Caldana?
Water.
Water, of course. Melody? Juice?
Nothing.
Yeah. She nods. Juice it is. If you're hungry, we have a vegetable stew and some wild rabbit.
I'm going to wait till after our discussion, I think, to eat, but
Of course.
anyone else is welcome to, of course.
It's important to keep your strength up. I'll take some.
Of course.
And honestly, I suggest you all do too. This is an emotional and disabling moment, and as much as it may not be desired, eating is a grounding thing.
I'll bring some out for the table then, and you can all pick at it as you feel able.
Thank you.
Thank
She
you.
returns. And Yuki sits down and nods. Okay. Well, I guess we start at the beginning, right?
What happened after we disappeared, I imagine, from your perspective?
Yes. About 10 years ago, we were in pretty dire straits. The lot of my brother's army had retreated down to Lockheed's Landing to mount a defense there. He had led a group of his soldiers out to meet them and buy time for the escape. The fight was not going well, but they were determined to buy as much time as possible. When suddenly, Scala appeared, but not as we remembered her, not as anyone remembered her. She was a goddess, or so she proclaimed. And she destroyed the entire demon legion. She obliterated every demonic being within 100 miles, and then imprisoned the dread demons that were leaving them, or that were leading them, I should say. My brother, of course, didn't trust her and turned his army upon her, and they were slaughtered to a man. Except for him. She took him prisoner and had him join with Paige, who we learned that day was a goddess. So if you didn't know, she is. And
It had come up.
they were taken to Stone's Throw to face punishment isn't the right word, but it was for them. Scala, well, the people began to fear the worst. We assumed the suffering would be legendary, but it wasn't. She began to aid those in distress. Even those who had wounds from demons, she cured. She healed the sick. Those who were starving, she fed. She helped rebuild the cities. And, well, she became known as the goddess of Serene. Some built temples to her as she helped to rebuild the cities and helped to take care of people, and people quickly began to find out that any who prayed to her got what they wanted, almost without fail. And, well, for many who, for the alternative, was starving and suffering, it was ideal. It was preferable. And the cost was low. You had to surrender your memories of all that came before her and worship her. If you did that, you wanted for nothing. And over time, most people did.
So those that pray to her don't even know there was something that came before.
Nope. And most of them will die to keep what they have.
Of course you would if it's all you've ever known.
She's not saying anything, but Flaw is just looking increasingly furious.
Hard to win hearts and minds when the minds have already been taken away.
Yes. Those who worship her do not age, they do not die of natural causes, and they want for nothing.
So trying to think of population levels. Are there the children then being born into this?
She kind of gets a distant look. There has not been a child conceived in 10 years. Anywhere in the world. The cycle of life and death has halted. She controls it now.
So, Salem boss.
As far as we know, they no longer exist or have been consumed by her, the same as all the other goddesses, save one.
Save one.
As far as we know, she hasn't consumed Laki as she did all the others, but
But she imprisoned her.
she nods.
Laki stopped the moon from colliding with the world. After that, when Scala ascended, unfortunately it appears that the goddess of heroes' power was spent. She was not able to resist Scala's might to bind her. She banished her to the void, to suffer as Scala had as a demon. If you have not seen her, then assuming that she has not been unbound, that is likely still where she is.
Most likely, then. The island that once held Scala's wrath has been reclaimed by the seas, so she is very far bound for now.
Knew it was water. Knew water's what got her. See, Scala couldn't. Scala's wrath. I knew it. It was her one weakness. Damn it.
Water.
And where is Scala?
We're not sure exactly. We know where her palace is, but she herself now hasn't been seen in almost 5 years.
5 years. Well,
We
she-
believe that, like most goddesses, she's in the divine realm now.
Huh.
We think that she might have the same limitations that all other gods and goddesses did, that she can't stay here. Not eternally, only for periods of time.
In her wake, she has created a world of stagnation.
Yes. She discovered it when she consumed the machine prince, and suddenly the Enneal elves were unable to procreate in any way and became dependent upon her. When that happened, well, she must have realized that by taking control of life and death, she could eventually do through supplication what she never could through fear or despair or hatred. She just gives people what they want.
Speaking of the Anil.
And
Oh, go ahead.
no, you're fine. You're fine. Go.
What happened? There was something on the wall about the gnomes.
Yes. She is the goddess of Cyrene. She has sway and mastery over all things of this world, but the gnomes do not come from Cyrene. They are not of our world, and so they were not permitted to stay. The genocide was fast.
None escaped.
No. Not that I'm aware of.
what is that crime compared to her list before it, I suppose.
Yes.
Wouldn't even know it was a crime if they gave in to her. They wouldn't remember a time when they ever existed.
The only proof that exists now of the existence of the gnomes is what's chiseled on that rock.
So, why then? You're people that are still resisting. She gives, well, the sins that she committed to create this stagnant paradise will be whisked away from the fields of memory if you only supplicate yourselves. I know why I wouldn't give in to it. I think I can guess why Martine wouldn't, but why
I
you?
think,
Why them?
well, for Melisandre and I guess we were both raised by Carmen, so we kind of learned from her and her belief that, yes, it could be given to you, but something that you did not earn or take for yourself was utterly meaningless. You will eventually see these cities, and you will see what has become of people who follow her, and you will see that they do not truly live. She motions around to the people who are here, and in spite of everything, still enjoying drinks with one another, still talking, still singing and dancing and living their lives, even now, even in this. And she nods. This is living. This is life. And I would sooner die than give this up.
Fair. And then he gets sullen for a moment. There were no children under the age of 10 or so at the school. No more can be born. Skal has halted that process, and her people don't die, but what of you?
We still age. We still get sick. We still need food. We still die. Indeed. Our time is limited. There will come a point that if we are not victorious, there will just be no one left.
She
But
does not need to fight you.
She does
She
not.
just needs to outlast you.
Which is why it is convenient that you have all chosen now to return, though I recognize it was not a choice.
I'm not exactly sure how or why it was this time that was given, or if that was on accident or by design.
Hard to say. Well, I can say for a fact that 10 years was a chosen time. It has given us time to build an actual resistance. Our first few years of building here was creating the city that you see and finding ways to feed people, train them, outfit them, clothe them, give them medicine. My mother's skills as a thief have proven, well, quite effective, as it turns out, because much of what we get now we have to steal. But still, it has given us time to form a new resistance. We actually have a standing army for the first time, and, well, we got it up and running about a year ago, I would say. And we can actually begin to make some offensive moves out against not her, but against her generals.
Those Sin Eaters you were talking about?
The leaders of the Sin Eaters.
Sin Eater leaders?
Hunters.
Sin hunters.
Sin Hunters, yeah.
Sin Hunters, that's right.
Sin Hunters, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Sin Eaters are at wakes in certain religions. Yeah.
Sin Hunters are led by Diascala's generals.
Demons?
The only 5 demons that remain.
Hmm.
Do you know who they are?
I do. Are you sure you want to?
We don't have a choice. We have to know.
Something tells me we're going to have to end up dealing with them.
I
If we
suppose
want
that
to
is
make any
true.
difference, then yes.
Terrason has been divided into 5 domains, plus her palace. To the south, around Mina's Grove and Lorelei's Watch, is ruled by the Red Lady, the dread demon of war. To the west, in the mountains, Evelyn, dread demon of sorrow, and the matriarch, dread demon of grief, rule.
I'm starting to see the pattern.
To the north, Talia, dread demon of endings, rules. Back over on the other side of the Soren range, where you just left, Selena, dread demon of darkness, is queen of all. And to the northeast, where Moon Bay once sat and the Twilight Village once was, there is a massive blighted jungle ruled over by flora and fauna, dread demons of stagnation and pestilence. She has made your goddesses into her demons.
Well then.
Varys is
Only
going to.
fitting.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
If she's the goddess, only fitting, I suppose.
Well,
Her
he'll,
idea of a joke.
pick up his drink and finish it. So we need to get demon slaying.
You
We've
do,
done that before.
but not tonight.
Great
You all
job
need-
of it, we did.
She looks at you, Caldana. You did. I wish I could explain to you how much you have inspired people today. If no one else, me and the other Whispers in Silence. When we feel at our most hopeless, we think back to what it must have been like for you. I think you all should take a night to process. And while it is not nearly enough, I know, by tomorrow afternoon, I would imagine we will have Carmen will be back and we'll be able to give you an idea on what we may be able to do that is proactive.
Your people have waited 10 years. We'll be ready.
And they will wait another night.
You've done well, Yuki.
She looks at you.
You've had to grow incredibly fast. Even before this happened.
We all have.
I know. But you've done good work here.
Thank you. Carmen told me a long time ago that people once looked up to my mother, and so too they would to me.
Well, the work that I think your mother had to do and the work you must do now may seem similar, but still different. This is your own.
It is all there is.
Well, thank you. What time is it? Like, what time of day?
It's pretty late by now. It's
Oh, okay.
probably, like, we'd call it probably 8 o'clock, but the sun's gone down.
Okay. She'll go hunting for relatives tomorrow then.
So as the evening for her is winding down anyway, she stands and nods. Terrible as things are, it does my heart good to see you all again. I have missed you, truly. Just up the way, she points, is the new home base of the Whispers in Silence. So stop by tomorrow afternoon, and we'll be probably ready by then to update you on what we're working on. In the meantime, you've got the run of the city. I promise you no one's going to tell you no here. And as she bows her head politely and turns to leave, Melisandre appears out of the shadows to escort her, and Yuki rolls her eyes. And how long were you hiding there watching? She asks, putting a hand on her hip. Melisandre crosses her arms. A while. Really, Melly, I think I'll be fine in Ash Oak of all places, she chastises. And at that, Melisandre kind of shifts from foot to foot. Yes, my lady, but it is still my duty to protect you. And at that, a little pink crosses Yuki's cheeks before she shakes her head. Oh, fine, let's just go. Have a good night, everyone, as best you can, she says, and the two of them begin to depart. As Melisandre is trying to leave, you all catch a brief glimpse as on her belt line there is a pewter sigil of a goat.
This must be what the elves used to call tsundere.
Well, it's nice to see some things haven't changed from the stagnation.
Indeed.
I'm going to try something that could either be risky or disappointing, but I will wait until I'm in my room.
Well, as you're all having a drink and just taking a moment to get something to eat, those of you who can, you hear footsteps descending the stairs from above. And as you watch, you see a half-elf man as he hits the bottom step, his face looking a little older than it had before, now solidly middle-aged. Yet he still has the purple cape on his back as he turns and makes his way over to a table to sit down, apparently not having noticed you all yet.
Son of a bitch.
But as he looks over, his face lights up in excitement, and he makes his way over to your table. His voice comes out as kind of a raspy, airy whisper, not the voice that you remember. Well, I'll be damned. Look at you. You haven't aged a day.
That was my first question, but no one would give me a mirror.
Melody, so good to see you again, dear, as Raj Seaborn looks at you all.
Mr. Seaborn?
He kind of glances at Melody, seeing the look on her face, and nods, understanding almost immediately. Oh, it has been some time. I hope that your journey here was pleasant.
Quick, a little confusing, but yes, we are, well, physically we are well enough.
Well, I'll tell you, when the young Yuki told us that you would return 10 years to the day, well, we wanted to believe that it was true, but most didn't. Yet, it felt like with every passing day, we knew it more was true. And then, here you are.
Well, you've made it here, which is good.
Yes, well, apologies.
Would you like a drink?
No, I took an injury to the throat while I was fighting for the resistance.
I see.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Fortunately, my singing career has come to an end, but he reaches out and pulls out a lute. I, most fortunately, still play with the best of them. And he starts to strum his lute.
I'm sorry for your loss.
We have all suffered great losses. Comparatively speaking, mine is not much to be worried about. It is... I apologize. It is rude of me. I can only imagine the grief you are all dealing with tonight.
Oh, the same as everyone, I assume, just in a far smaller amount of time.
Seeing Melody start to cry, he kind of leans down and puts a hand on her shoulder and whispers, "When the day comes that you are ready to play again, I look forward to our next duet." And he'll stand. Well, I will leave you to it. And I will see you soon. If you need anything, do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you.
And he goes up to the stage and relieves the tiefling and the elf who are performing there and just sits to start playing. And his music is beautiful. It has a melancholy tone to it, but it is beautiful. The food that you have, if any of you choose to eat, is, as you remember, utterly outstanding. For a time where spices cannot be easy to come by, and really there's not much to make cooking-wise, the food is incredible, with the exception of dessert, which is okay.
Carmen is certainly doing her work to be able to get some of these supplies.
Yes, I don't think it would be any easy feat, but if they have a standing army to feed, it's not just a matter of the quality, but the amount that they're going to have to regularly find or cultivate.
Well, as long as she's able to return from items from, I assume, the capital, well, it sounds like it's not like there's going to be a supply issue.
No, but moving that much product can't be easy.
No.
Well, I think I plan to turn in for the evening.
I think I will as well. What about you three?
Hold on, it just kind of shrugs.
Fala seems to sort of snap out of the sort of reverie she's been in the whole time. Like, she hasn't eaten or anything. She's been sort of staring off. I think I'll go to bed as well.
Fala?
Yes.
I'm sorry for Brux's loss. We all cared for her very much, but we of course are happy that you're with us.
It's fine. She made her choice.
Fair.
It's fine. And just walk away.
Mm.
Ferris will look at everyone, maybe think about saying something, but then just sort of shakes his head. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Let's all start tomorrow.
Agreed.
Good night.
Is Caldana still at the table?
Uh,
Or is she leaving? It's fine, I was just curious.
she'll probably leave after the rest of you go out to bed, but she'll head outside again.
Okay. But she will... Well, actually, there is something she will maybe check outside, but I don't know, the bets at balconies. Is Melody still, like, at the table? Does she want help being taken upstairs?
Melody just kind of, like, sits there. After, another burst of, from Raj's, great loss comment, it's kind of, like, died down to, like, a very, for lack of better words, a pathetic display, really. There's like, she hasn't touched any food, hasn't had any water. She's just been kind of like staring at one spot of the table. And it just she's like the picture of like a broken person. Like it, like she, like for the first time, she's feeling the weight of it all feel like it's crashing down on her. And no real response to any stimulus. She won't resist if you try and take her upstairs, but she won't make any move to do it herself.
Then we'll say, Rialta, you do help Melody up to her room and lay her down to go to sleep. Did anyone have anything they want to do tonight? I know Caldana wants to step outside. Rialto, you have something you want to do? Does anyone else have anything they want to do tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a quick thing. I don't think it's going to
Great.
amount to anything. Mine's very quick.
Great. Salah?
As
Melody?
yeah, as a
Nope, she is going into her room.
All right.
as Rialta is actually like leaving, Melody is going to grab hold of one of her sleeves.
Melody?
You don't see her looking at you. You see her just like looking straight ahead.
Are you asking me to stay? She'll sit at the edge of the bed beside her and just wait.
I got to see Mama for one last time. After 10 years of not knowing what happened to her, I got to see her one last time. And now she's gone. And I can't. I can't. Why didn't I do it? Why didn't I go home? Why didn't I listen? And now she's gone, and I can't do anything about her. I can't bring her back. I don't know what to do, Rialta. I don't know. It feels like we made everything worse.
This isn't your fault. None of this is.
She would still be here if I didn't fight. If I didn't say I would.
You,
She'd still be with Mom.
Melody,
She'd still be alive if it wasn't because of me, Rialta. She would still be here.
Melody, that's not true. We don't know what would have happened if we didn't do anything when she was a dread demon. She wanted to destroy the entire world. This isn't your fault.
It feels like the more we try to help, the worse it gets.
Yeah. There's a reason for that. Because we're fighting against a force that doesn't want to quit. And the only way to fight against that is to be even more stubborn. We are working with things that don't have easy answers. And we can contemplate so many what ifs. But the truth is, what we did was the best that we could do with the information we had at the time. I play it back every time since we've gotten here. What could we have done differently? What could we have moved or casted or anything like that? And I don't think there was anything more that could have been done. sometimes, Melody, when we're faced against something that's an impossible force, we blame ourselves because it's the only thing we can control. And it's scary that there's so little we can control. But I promise you, this isn't your fault.
I don't know how you do it.
I'm sorry?
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how any of you do it.
We just hide.
You've lost so much more than I have.
Well,
Compared to what you've lost, you've carried such sadness in you, and then you find out what happened to your brother and the rest of the people we're supposed to protect. We don't even know what happened to Martine. I don't know how you can keep moving.
well, because, well, first of all, some of us have just learned to hide it or carry it better, and that comes with time. But for me, well, carrying pain is a little relative. You are in pain right now, and so I will support you. When I was in pain over Opal, all of you supported me. We take turns. We hold ourselves up so we can help others, and then trust that they will do it in return when we can't hold on anymore.
What if it never happened? What if we can't do it? What if the world can't heal?
Well, she kind of sits for a moment. I think things a little too pragmatically sometimes. So, what I'm about to say might sound a little harsh, but it's the only thing that really brings me comfort, I guess. The end result, if we do nothing, and if we fail, are the same. So, why not try anyway, so that there's a chance of something better? Because if we don't try, for sure nothing good's gonna happen.
And Melody just kind of like looks down at that. And she lets her claws go from your sleeve. And it's like a few silent moments before she looks back up again and goes, "You want to talk to him, don't you?
Sorry, I didn't quite hear you.
You want to talk to him, right?"
Well, I'm going to try. There's no guarantee, but just like saving the world, if I don't try, then I'll never get the chance to see if I can.
Okay. Tell him would you tell him that I still have a message for him and his sister?
I'll let him know.
I need them both together to hear this.
Okay. I'll tell him if I can. I'll let you know.
You're all
You can-
tough.
Say it again?
And she says your name.
Oh, okay. Are you...
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome. She'll give her a hug, although her arms are very small and stubby.
Yeah.
Because she is a dwarf. She's trying her best.
And you do. Melody, you watch Rialto leave to go try and contact Martine. And it's true that no words are going to make the pain just go away. Times are very difficult right now, and often the night is darkest before the dawn as things continue to seem to get worse. But some part of you can't help but think of what you heard downstairs, of the people still finding life and love, of the little blush on Yuki's cheeks as she looked at Melisandre, of Kelsey being here still, working a forge. There are still things to fight for. And you do eventually find a, admittedly not particularly restful sleep, but you do.
Oh, she's fucking exhausted.
Yeah. Caldana, you step outside, and indeed, you're greeted by the sound of crickets chirping. The night forest is alive. What do you do?
Caldana has been, kind of seething this whole time since the first time at the wall. She's gonna head back there and just basically spend the night there, seething until she passes out from her wounds.
Jeez.
You don't really pass out from your wounds as much as you do exhaustion, I would say. But you are... it is a relatively warm evening, and you are able to fall asleep. I will say that when you wake up, you will find that someone has put a blanket over you. But you too find a relatively restful sleep, or as much as you possibly can.
It happened to me once. Someone mistake me for a homeless person.
Damn.
Well, you did ask to stay in the stables.
Cerberus, what did you want to do before bed?
Cerberus is going to head out of the... I probably passed Caldana, I guess. I'm like, oh,
Probably.
what's up, dog? Gingerly step over her collapsed, tired body. Maybe go back in, grab a blanket, and put it over her. And from where I am, and I know it's been 10 years, and I haven't had time to chart the night sky, but am I able to kind of figure out where I am in the old God's Grasp layout-wise?
You would know based on not what's in the night sky, but what is here.
Yeah.
This city is built on the ruins, effectively, of your order's home.
Got it.
So
could I head in the direction to where the cairns and sarcophagi of the dead order members used to be?
Yeah, you absolutely can. You make your way. It's about 20 minutes walk. It's it's on the other side of the town, but here things are very untouched. There was definitely a great reverence shown for this place, of people not wanting to change anything or build over this area. Here, returning to this place is almost like going back in time to an era when people still use this area for another purpose.
I'm gonna look out.
It's much more
over the
overgrown,
cairn.
though, admittedly.
Yeah, not tended in the same way, I would guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to look out over them and sort of walk amongst the graveyard
Mm-hmm.
of these old heroes, knights, druids. And I'm going to see if I can find where my mentor, Sir Braylor, was entombed?
It's not too hard to find. You've been to this tomb a number of times throughout your life. And indeed, you find it still, I wouldn't say well maintained, because like people don't really come out here anymore, but it is not falling apart. It's not in disrepair by any stretch of the imagination. It's just overgrown.
Even though Varys well knows, because he heard him stop breathing many, many years ago, he's still going to put his ear up to the tomb and see if he hears anything coming from inside it.
You are greeted only by the sound of silence as you listen.
Of silence.
I run my fingers over sort of the mossy stone slab that sits atop the tomb and the partially uncovered cairn where Sir Braylor's name and epitaph is inscribed. You didn't tell me everything. You were supposed to prepare me. I have been nothing but unprepared for what I face. You were supposed to live forever. And you died. I am sorry that I have resented you for so long, Sir Braylor. I am glad your soul had a chance to return to the cycle before it could be ended. You were not even there in the forest to greet me. Why would you be? We are a series of abandonments. An endless wheel of oaths, broken and unfulfilled. Night talkers who look up at the stars and hope to find some solace and secret wisdom. And here they are. They brought all of it back and more, and they didn't need us for it. I think I understand now. You couldn't prepare me. Because it was all going to change. Thank you. And I'm sorry. And with that, I'm going to turn around and sort of hunker up with the cairn at my back. Put my sword at my side. I have my old sword. My enchanted ones are not enchanted anymore. So I have my old sword and my old green shield, and I take it and I sort of look at it. The green paint on it. We're back in the forest, and I look around and just grab a stone that I can find, some sort of rock, and I begin to scrape the green paint off the front of the shield to reveal a similarly greenish background, but painted with hemlock flowers. No need to hide anymore. I throw the rock out at nobody. It doesn't matter whether they know who I am or not. The order's dead. I sort of set it up next to me, like it's someone I was talking to, like a crazy person,
Mm-hmm.
like it's my Wilson. I look up at Hemlock and sort of bid him to fly down.
The dragon seems very pleased as he feels like he's been largely ignored in this campaign and is happy to finally get some screen time as he swoops down and lands on your hand and seems quite pleased. He does a little dance.
I'm sorry I've ignored you, old friend. You are the only reason I'm still here.
He gives a very sage nod at that as if he agrees heavily that that is the case and then goes,
Right, sorry. Here we are. I take a chunk of the rabbit leg meat from the stew. I start putting in his mouth.
he's very pleased as he goes, "Nom, nom, 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 nom."
I look at him, and I would like to, Hemlock, my spirit is able to do sort of one magical thing a day.
Can.
So I'm going to ask him a question.
Okay.
Is she here? Is the matron of the forest here?
Hemlock gives a look that it's been a while since you've like communed with your not the weird spirit, but you're pretty sure the look and noise he makes is like, yeah, your baby mama's here.
Thanks, bro. I'll set him down next to me, and then sort of look out into the stars, and nod. Well, that is definitely a tomorrow problem. And I will cover my face with my helmet, and sort of just nod up next to Sir Braylor, and I'm gonna sleep in this graveyard.
Okay. I will say that, like for everyone else, your rest is not the best, but
Yeah.
you do get it. But as you're going to sleep, a thought enters your mind that you cannot, for the life of you, push out. And that thought is that if Lady Gwen and Sir Braylor were to see the city as it is now, they would love it.
I think Ferris cannot help but smile a little in his sleep, even if it is not a very restful one.
Rialta,
Yeah.
what are you up to?
She goes into the room.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, were there stars outside?
There are. I mean, they're a little clouded because of the canopy, but yeah, you can see the stars from here.
That's good. I guess I'll do my roll, even though I'm not gonna make it.
Okay.
What is it?
So D20 plus your proficiency.
Oops, that's not plus. Oh, sorry, I did it wrong. That was my fault. I'm a goof. I did not make it. So she doesn't see anything in the stars today. Unless
You look up to the stars, and as you gaze upon them, what are you seeking in the stars?
I am seeking a direction.
As you look around and gaze upon the stars, you see some of them begin to, well, you're not certain if they're glowing brighter than normal, but perhaps they are. There's one to the south and one to the west, one to the northwest, one to the north, and one to the northeast. 5 directions. And at first you think to yourself that that could not be more useless because you already knew that you had 5 directions to go. But then the thought occurs to you that maybe there is no wrong choice. That maybe you have earned the right to make your own destiny.
Okie dokie. Then she'll go lay on the bed, and she's gonna take out her sending stone.
Okay.
She's gonna remind herself that the worst thing that can happen is that nothing happens. And after kind of arguing a little with herself, she tries it.
Go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
Oh boy. That's an 11.
As you start to focus on Martine, your body, as it has so many times before, it begins to lift up and fly off towards the northwest. And you don't get very far before you realize that you've just flown back into your body and you're ejected out. Nothing seems to happen.
She looks at it a little sadly, thinks about the other one she has, then shakes her head.
Try if you want to try and send a message.
I guess it'll be the night too. Well, the other one's like a shorter timer.
Yep.
Well, it's gonna be recharged the next day anyway.
Roll a d20.
Okay.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Let's go.
Nope, that's a 10.
You get very much the same effect. You start heading off to
Ooh.
the northwest before you're ejected out of your vision.
That's fucked up.
She puts them away and decides to give up and go to sleep.
Oh shit.
You all
Martine left you on red, dog.
find that somewhat restless
He
sleep.
sent
Although,
you straight to voicemail.
though you can't help but enjoy the sounds of the forest, of the world around you. It's not home, but it's not altogether terrible either. Except for you, Varys, where it literally is home.
That's true. I am actually home. I did decide to sleep in the graveyard like a fucking
Which is
emo
interesting.
kid,
I
but
don't think you did that a whole lot when you
No,
were here.
I sure didn't. I
Okay.
definitely didn't.
Yeah.
But it's my emo kid phase, and it reminds me of the original home. And I mean, everybody got a chance to be dark. Varys just wants his time in the sun
That's
or out
fair.
of it, as the case may be.
So morning eventually arrives, and a lot of you awaken. Varys, you are very uncomfortable.
I got some
that-
cramps.
You have quickly realized why, in the entire history of your order, no one ever slept in the graveyard.
Oh my
um,
god, this is horrible.
It sucks. There is like bugs in your armor now that have just like gone in there
no.
overnight, and
This is very ironic to the phrase "rest like the dead."
there was definitely like a rock underneath, like right at the base of your spine, and now
No.
nothing is quite right.
Oh, my legs are so numb.
Yeah,
It's so warm.
it's so
Why?
terrible. Caldana, likewise, you awaken covered by a blanket out near the memorial wall, but you seem otherwise undisturbed. Everyone else, you awaken in your inn rooms that I so kindly gave you.
My god, this beetle is huge, and it's in my underwear. I do not like that.
So, breakfast is provided for you at the Widow's Resilience. It is delicious. Extremely good. There are eggs. There's no bacon, but there is bread. And some people are making like little sandwiches. There's even little slices of tomato to go on the sandwiches.
Fancy.
Oh,
Yeah.
would-
It's a very nice little meal, and as you all arrive to have your breakfast wherever you're coming from, you also see Mira there. She is at a table over in the corner and is eating her breakfast as well. Since she ate, she very much wants to enjoy her meal as well. She looks
Shaking
about
grubs out
10
of
years
my
older.
nose.
Now probably about 30, as she is looking at just enjoying her meal and just
Did you just describe her as looking about 10 years older?
well, because she was 20.
Yes, Callie, we get it. We've been gone 10. We just dealt with the wound. Why you gotta rub the salt back in
That's fair.
immediately?
Melody, the tomato is delightful. It is fresh and it is very tasty.
Varys is impressed.
That's pretty much all she can like muster to eat right now.
Yep.
Like she still doesn't have much of a fucking appetite given the whole,
That's fair.
you know.
Yeah, Kaldana
All of it.
eventually comes back.
Yep.
Still looks incredibly pissed
I
off.
think Varys eats surprisingly well,
Good.
all things considered. There's a nice cathartic moment sleeping amongst his dead parents.
Oh my god.
Fair.
Fala has just a few bites.
Rianta's
These
eating.
tomatoes are so good.
Thank
Oh,
you.
That's
Calls Mira.
Are you gonna finish that, fella?
Mm.
that's one thing Fala and Melody have in common. They both lost a mom.
Varys,
They both lost moms.
Varys is kind of like looking between Fala and Melody at their still mostly full plates.
Kaldana will
really
shove her
try not
mostly
to be
full
an
plate to
asshole.
Varys.
Varys nods very appreciatively. Thank you. Oh
All
my
right.
god. Ugh.
Well, Whispers, it is the morning, and the day is yours. Where would you like to go?
Ah.
Well, I
Well,
have
we-
some people I'd like to catch up with here. But I believe we are to meet somewhere in the afternoon.
We're supposed to meet the Whispers in Silence. Somewhat ironic.
Karina nods. Oh, so their headquarters is just up the way. It's called Silence Broken. Just look for the
Yes.
sign.
The Hall of Broken Silences and Whispers No More, I believe the full title was. So
Now
Varys
shouts.
making that up. Yeah.
Did she say where Lana is?
She did not. You would have to ask her.
Okay. That then.
And I will head to the school.
Okay. So,
Melody's gonna head back to the monument.
okay. So we've got a monument, a school, a trip to Whispers to Silence Broken. Varys, where are you going?
Oh man. Gee willikers. I guess he will go stand outside the forge and
Forge?
debate to himself if he's gonna man up.
Caldana?
Probably go with Melody to the.
To the wall. All right. Then we will start with Fala. Fala, you make your way down to the floor of the forest and start heading up the path following the signs that say they lead towards Silence Broken. Silence Broken resides in the stump of a massive tree, and actually it descends down underground into the root system. Here in this kind of excavated cavern, pathways extend out in a number of different directions, some of which pass by what look to be rooms, like bedrooms, though they're each covered with a sheet of moss. The main room has a large map on the wall of Terracin with different sections of the continent marked by different colors, and notably the symbols of your goddesses on them. To the left, you see a room with a long dining table and a pantry attached to it. As you enter, Yuki is leaning over a table, and she's speaking with another woman whom you recognize. She has medium length. Actually, Fala, ironically, you don't recognize. No, you do. You met her once. She has medium length black hair, currently tied back in a ponytail, and looks to be probably in her 40s now. Still, Carmen has the same ever-present confident smile on her face as she points to a spot on the map and glances up. Well, I see Yuki's intel was reliable indeed. Welcome back. Fala.
It seems my initial judgment of you was wrong.
I presume you've all returned because Varys has decided to take me up on that dinner offer?
Little bit late to that.
You'll have to ask him yourself.
I will. Well, we're not quite ready for you. Is there something I could do for you?
I was wondering about my sister.
Of course. Lana. She has been with us since pretty much the beginning. After her girlfriend died, she changed her name. She has been serving as our liaison in the Dominion of Talia, to the north of here. We haven't heard from her in a little bit. She hasn't checked in a while, but last we heard, she had found a small contingent of people in an oasis and had begun to set up an encampment there. But that is the last that we heard, and that was probably 2 months ago now. Which, to be fair, is not particularly uncommon. It's very hard to get messages anywhere. Magic doesn't work quite as well as it used to.
Oh.
Certain spells, anyway. Scrying, sending, things of those natures. Very difficult to get communication anywhere. Even the teleportation spell Yuki used, we have had to erect points to teleport between, because just doing it from knowledge now doesn't always work. But
I'll have to inform the rest of, I suppose, my companions now.
Of course. They are your companions, and if I know them, they will look out for you. They were incredibly kind to me, and I tried to kill them.
And she just sort of stares off a little bit and nods.
Yuki kind of glances up like, you never told me that part of the story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But,
It's true, it happened.
That's exactly how it happened.
Well, I said if Lana does check in, I'll make sure to let her know that you're here. And if you do intend on going up to face the dread demon of the ending, you will likely run into her.
Okay. And she sort of swallows. I'm sorry again about... She just sort of gestures vaguely, like she's having trouble spitting it out.
Carmen looks genuinely surprised and confused for a moment, and then she walks over and puts a hand on your cheek. No one blames you. You all stood up against the dread demon of despair. You carried a cursed blade across the continent to try to be rid of it. No one blames you for what happened.
I meant when we met.
She gets an embarrassed look on her face. There is nothing to apologize for. I assure you, the me you met back then was probably every bit deserving of your scorn.
She looks around. Well, regardless, thank you. Truly.
It is... Once a long time ago, your compatriots gave me my life back when I didn't deserve it. I feel I owe it to them to not let that choice go unrewarded.
And she'll leave and go and find some quick menial work she can do to help out.
Well, I got great news for you. There's plenty to be done.
Oh, yeah.
You have no trouble finding some work to do.
Yeah, it's yeah, she wants to keep herself busy.
Yeah. Rialta, you make your way down to the school. Classes are in session at the moment. Let sure if I got my read here for that. It's on the southern end of town, near a clearing. It's a simple school. Rows of seats made from sections of log are lined up in front of a desk with a simple chalkboard behind it. Inside the nearest tree to you is what looks to be a library, although to call it a library is generous. It's a few shelves with books on it, but we make do with what we've got. As you approach, you can see a number of people in their teens sitting as a dwarven woman is giving a lecture. Rialta, you recognize this woman as your aunt. Despite looking every bit of 10 years older, she seems to be in her element as she teaches the students before her. Strangely, she isn't teaching anything about the stars or sky, but instead this class seems to be on alchemy. And she is giving a lecture as they all take notes. And she notices you, and her face breaks into a big smile as she sees you. And she nods. All of you work on your formulas. I expect to see them in 10 minutes. And she is going to walk over and approach you and immediately pull you into the biggest hug.
Apologies, I didn't mean to interrupt your class.
It's quite all right. I think I can make 10 minutes for the big hero.
That's a bit much to say, I think.
You're right, it is, but I like to say it nonetheless. It makes me feel important about myself.
Right. I heard that Mother is here as well.
Celeste is here, yes. She is serving in the hospital ward.
Sounds super chill.
I'm surprised she didn't try to take over this school.
Well, who says she didn't?
Oh.
But no, actually, she was trained in medicine, and we were lacking for people who were trained in medicine, so she took the job happily.
That's fair. Have the two of you made up?
Yes, we are speaking again. I would not say we are particularly close, but we are cordial, and
This forest does that with families. Very normal.
We do try to get together as often as possible.
I see. Does Mother know about what happened with me and that I was meant to come back?
She does. We all do.
Right.
Yuki, 10 years ago, said that she received a vision from the goddess of the arts and that you would all return.
Well, I'm glad that you two were able to escape what has been happening with the new goddess.
It is a difficult time.
Yeah. And, well, I see the students are getting older. I hear there are not going to be any new ones for, well, the time being.
She kind of looks down at that and nods. Yes, no new child has been conceived since Diascala took control over the cycle, but there are still a great many people who wish to learn. And as long as there are people who want to learn, there will need to be people who will be willing to teach.
That's good. That's good. I should probably apologize to Mother about Saren. I don't know how much she knows.
She heard that about his demise. I don't know that she knows all the gory details. But she will be happy to see you. These 10 years have been difficult on her.
Indeed. She lost everyone.
Almost.
Did Saren die immediately once the goddess came? Or...
I can't say. When she came, she had two people in her company. One, Paige, and the other, Martine.
Paige and my mother did?
No, when the goddess came
Oh,
before us.
right. Yes, we heard about that. It's my understanding. Well, it's my understanding they were supposed to be, I think, put to death.
Nothing so generous, I'm afraid.
What was meant to happen?
She gave the people of the city a choice that they could worship her and want for nothing. All it would cost them is their memories. And she said that if a single person declined, she would allow Paige and Martine to go free. No one did. And she murdered Paige, but Martine escaped. Even now, I'm not exactly certain how. He just vanished.
That's interesting.
It was.
Well, speaking of Martine, I had attempted to use a sending stone.
You will have great difficulty with that.
Do they not work here?
They don't work anywhere. Well, not well. You sending magic, scrying magic, locating magic. Diascala has made it very difficult to exchange information in any real meaningful way because it is a hindrance to her when people can. And those spells, they do not work particularly well anymore.
Is there no way that anyone has found to get around that?
It's not to say they never work, it's just kind of got to get lucky. It's unreliable at best, I would say.
I see.
Like
that's good to
WoW
know.
internet.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like having AT&T.
Yeah. Rolling the dice. Thank you. We'll be meeting with the new Whispers in Silence later today.
Ah, yes, the new Whispers in Silence. A interesting group, although I haven't seen them all together now in a number of years.
We'll see if this makes a homecoming, I suppose.
You'd have to see Soraya. We haven't seen her in probably the longest.
Where
And-
did she go?
We're not certain. She upped and left about, 6 years ago now, probably. Other than that, well, Yuki, Melisandre, and Carmen are normally here. Lana has been working to the north for the last couple of years. Kelsey's here as well, so.
Well, Caldana will be happy to hear about Soraya. I'm not sure she was given any information.
We haven't heard anything bad, but I can't say I have a ton of information about her.
That's fair. Can you point me to the direction of where my mother is?
Of course. If you just head down that way there, she points in a direction. There's a tree on the right side, and the bottom floor is the hospital ward, and then there are some rooms on floors above. She'll be either in one of the rooms tending to a patient or on the bottom floor working with people just coming in.
There's a tree on the left side, and then it's easy to find your mother because it's shoved all the way up her ass. It's all the way up there.
That sounds like her. I'm going to go see her, but I'm sure I will see you again.
Sure you will. And she hugs you again tightly.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's strange.
I would imagine for you never left.
Yeah.
Be safe.
I will. And she will head over there.
Great.
Or if you want to flip around. But.
Over to Falah to Caldana and Melody, who are at the memorial wall. Caldana, do you have anything in particular you want to do at this wall?
Did you say, is the wall organized in any kind of way?
If you wanted to look for a particular name, I'd let you.
It's more she's staring at where a name, in her opinion, maybe, I don't want to say should be.
Okay.
Would be.
Yeah.
The names are, I wouldn't say they're organized in any particular way, but they are grouped by like Tsukiko and Martine are right near each other. Saren and Opal are right next to each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Probably from like someone came in, put those names in, and then left,
Okay.
or is still here. What name are you looking for?
Her mom or any of her adoptive family. She knows it's not there, and that bothers her. And she's kind of seething about it.
Indeed, you don't see their names there.
That's all I had for Caldana there.
Okay, simple
Until
enough.
she has to go to...
Melody, was there anything you wanted to do, or were you just praying at the wall?
She's staring at Celesta's name on the monument for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Before she reaches up and takes the other half of the links in her that are wrapped around her other horn, and puts it in the little drawer for Celesta's name.
As you open Celesta's, you do see there is something in there already. The only thing that is in there is a little folded up piece of paper.
Is it addressed to any like? Her?
It doesn't seem to be.
She's not sure if that's supposed to be meant for her or if that was left for Celesta.
Do you read it?
No, as a player I'd be like, yeah, this is something that this is gonna be ours, but Melody's respects privacy, and
It's fair.
yeah, she's gonna leave it alone. She's gonna put the links carefully and place them on top of the paper.
Okay. You place them on top of the paper and set it, and in your mind you think that it is a fitting remembrance of Celesta, something that she would have loved. Yeah. Sir Varus, you are standing outside the Siltec Forge. As you approach, where is my note for that one? There it is. On the west side of the town, there is a clearing with a smith's forge nestled against a large boulder. Smoke rises from the chimney atop the heavy bark roof, and the sound of hammering can be heard from quite a distance. As you approach, on your right are a number of display cabinets, and inside them are sets of armor. Armor that you recognize. On the far left is the suit of armor Kelsey had been trapped in when you first met her, mostly reconstructed, though likely not functional. To the right, the armor she was able to summon onto herself the night that you met her. And all the way down the line, what you can only assume are new models and improvements to them. Gazing into the forge, inside there is a large anvil and rows of tables that have molds of different shapes on them. There is also a molding station with clay where she creates new ones, and pounding away at a piece of metal on the anvil is Kelsey. She is, to say the least, a woman grown. She's tall, every bit your height, Varus, and her hair hangs over the right side of her face, the left side shaved down almost to the scalp. A pair of black-tinted goggles are over her eyes, and her muscle body signifies her many hours working in the forge. She's wearing a simple crop top with baggy pants and an apron over her front to protect from flying sparks. And as you enter, she glances up and sets the tongs holding the metal down, putting a hand on her hip as the hammer rests on her shoulder. Well, about time you show up. Welcome to the Siltech Forge.
Varys is kind of Siltech. I see. That's quite an impressive array you have out there.
It's come quite a ways since the last time you all saw it.
Yes.
Siltech is it's a new type of technology of my own design, Well, to say it's my own design isn't actually accurate. When I first got here, I started checking out some of the different designs that your people had made in the place, and I found that actually a great deal of them were quite robust for how simple they were. And by taking some of those nod to weird techniques and putting some anneal refinements on them, I was able to make some pretty impressive things, if I do say so myself.
It certainly seems impressive. If it performs even better than what we saw near on a decade ago now, I guess. It's been
Has
some
it been
time.
that long?
Yes.
Suppose it has.
Well, that's what they tell me. It certainly doesn't feel that way. Although, looking at you, you look well.
I am well. You look tired.
I am tired. I slept outside. I have grubs in my ass.
Did Yuki not give you a room? I'll clock you
No,
upside the
she
head
did.
if you like.
She did. I had some. I went to the old. Last time I was here, it was somewhat different. I was sort of processing that. There's neither here nor there. I shouldn't have mentioned the grubs in my ass. That wasn't something you probably needed to know about.
It was not.
Yes. Well. Yes, we're here. It sounds like you all knew we would be, which is more than I
Well,
can say for us.
Knew isn't the right word, but we believed. Yuki knew. She certainly seemed certain of it.
Right. That makes sense then. You joined up with her early on then?
Since near the beginning, I never actually made it to Stone's Throw.
I see.
Me and my group that I had started traveling with when I met them at the bridge. We were waylaid by demons, and I had to flee into the God's grasp. And eventually, I came across Mom, which worked out.
Right. Well, good. I'm glad you two had a chance to reunite and meet, if only under. Varys' arms are crossed like this. He's sort of like hunched over. He looks a lot smaller. If only you two had
She
had a
does
chance
not.
to-
She looks huge.
Well, right. So that's good. I mean, not good about the demons. That's the bad part, I suppose. But good that you survived the demons and got out of there. So that's probably some of that Siltech would have. Right. So did you help with the? You helped build all of the, making the treehouse and.
Most of it.
Ah,
I told Mom that I wanted to help with the resistance or to help stand against this, and she sent me down to Mina's Grove to meet Carmen, and we brought people here.
Well, now sounds like you're one of the whispers in silence. So that's.
It was not my idea to take the name.
Well, the name wasn't my idea either, so I sort of. Not that you and I would have the same ideas in any way, right? Like, you'd have your own ideas, and then I'd have mine, but,
She just shakes her head. Well, come on. She'll be wanting to see you.
Right, Kelsey,
Yes.
I'm glad you're alright. It's good to see you again.
She seems to think about that for a moment. And she nods. It is good to see you too.
He nods, and then he's gonna follow her.
She leads you. She sets the hammer down because she doesn't want to carry it all that way. She doesn't mind carrying the hammer, but it is kind of fucking heavy. So,
Sure.
She leads you across town And on the edge of town, there's a section that, for you, Varys, looks very familiar. Like the graveyard, here things remain almost untouched from how you last saw them. There is a beautiful row of tended flower beds that a worn path walks alongside, leading towards a grove of trees. Everything grows still and quiet as you approach, and the energy in the air becomes palpable. And she stops as she arrives here and looks to you and motions for you to head on into the grove.
Right.
Best of luck.
Right. How is she?
Different.
Thank you.
She nods.
Ferris is gonna take a big boy breath.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna do his square breathing, and he walks into the grove.
Beyond the entrance to the grove, there are a series of ponds with lily pads nestled atop the still waters. Beneath the surface, you can see fish swimming about, and about 20 feet out into the waters of the largest pond, there is a massive sunflower with petals that are beautiful pastel yellow. 2 of these petals are opened in the front, forming a small housing in which a woman is sitting. Varys, you recognize Mirabelle immediately as she sits cross-legged and meditates serenely. Her eyes are milky white, indicative of her having spent too much time attuned to nature rather than being in her own body. But as you enter, her gaze turns towards you and she smiles. Welcome back. Long has Serene been lesser for your absence.
Yes. I didn't realize how long I had been gone when I left this place near 11 years ago.
Indeed. I don't think anyone did.
Right.
She starts to step down off the pedal and onto the land. And you notice that as her foot touches the ground, vines come up out of it to meet and wrap around her legs. But then as she takes her next step, the vines release until her foot touches ground again. And she continues to approach you.
Well, seems some things have changed.
Many things, but too many things remain just as they were. Day by day, the god's grasp is being burned away, and it will fall in time.
Mira, I'm sorry.
For what?
Gods, so many things. For leaving, for not leaving sooner, for giving our child away, for not having the courage to do what I needed to, for not telling you sooner where I was and what I was doing, for not saying I was sorry sooner. Well, it's wholly insufficient, but, you deserve to know that I'm sorry.
It is good to know that you at least are aware that you have something to be sorry for. And she walks over to where a stump sits and again sits cross-legged on it. I must introduce you to someone.
I see. All right.
It is normally not the place of a knight to speak with this person. However, they have asked to speak with you. And so I must oblige.
I see. Before that, if I could, uh, are you all right?
10 years ago, you set out to stand against the dread demon of hatred, of despair. And I swore an oath that as long as people were willing to fight against her, I would do my part as well. That the land and the forest and the trees and the animals within would never stop fighting her. And so they do not. But one cannot be the land and the forest and the trees and the animals within for wholly too long without losing oneself to it. Yes, I am all right, but I am not what I once was. Not anymore.
No, that much is clear. You've sacrificed much.
I
I'm sorry to keep you. Varys sort of just looks downcast, and then he kneels.
Mhm. Her eyes turn white again, and she is clearly concentrating and focusing. And then everything in the area changes. Everything goes completely still and silent, as if frozen in time. And the ground begins to shake a little bit as an eruption of plants comes up around the stump on which she sits. Fireflies float in and form into a face atop this stump as a mask over hers. And this being, whatever it is, speaks to you. Greetings, young one. I am they who have been since all things on this world began. I am everything. I am everywhere. I am Cyrene, who loved the mother of all.
You were consort to the Prime Goddess.
The flies kind of twist into an almost fond smile. The Prime Goddess. That is a term for her, I suppose. She was my beloved. Long ago did the first person fall in love with the world on which she lived. So true and deep was her love that when she grew old, it racked her heart with pain to know she would soon leave it. For in that era, there was no great cycle as we know it today. And so she begged me to extend her life, to allow her more time to experience the beautiful world that she called her home. And such did I love her, that I granted her not what she desired, but a chance to make that change herself. For it, she would have to give up 7 pieces of herself. Her love for those who suffered, her love for the world above the surface, her love for the world below the surface, her love for the brave and courageous, her love for those who held rage in their heart, her love for the dutiful and honorable, and her love for a single person, her love for me. Yet so pure and true were these loves that they did not disappear even as she gave them up. Instead, they became our children. And for her sacrifice, she was granted the ability to change the world, to change me as she saw fit. Thus were her 8th and 9th child born, the twins, Sail and Boss, the overseers of life and death, keepers of the great cycle, that all who know the beauty of Serene may live on past death and experience it once again.
Is incredible. I am unworthy of this knowledge. What would you ask of me?
You and yours, who stand against the end, who stand against stagnation, who stand against an ending of the world that my love held so dearly. It is not what you will do for me, but what I will do for you. There are many things that you believe yourselves knowledgeable of, things that you are mistaken in. You have grown to detest the divine spark, the gift that she gave to all.
That is true. I do not see the beauty in it anymore. I tried, but catastrophe after catastrophe has
Yes.
changed my judgment.
The divine spark is present in all living people. None are spared of it. All are blessed by it. Anyone is capable of igniting. Such was it deemed. Such was it made. But not all are given equal opportunity to ignite.
Is there a way to repair the cycle?
Yes. Diascala must be beaten. She must be returned to the cycle herself. To do so, you will need to defeat her generals. You will need to face down the fears within yourselves, the doubt, the lingering agonies, and stand for this world and all who live in it, even those who have chosen to make themselves your enemies. That is the sacrifice that will be required. A dread demon and a goddess, what a laughable term. That is not what we called them when we first created them. They were simply heroes, symbols. The spark was a representation of a message. Do you know the first person to ever spark was leading a rebellion? They were standing up against a cruel lord who punished and struck down his own. Many wanted to give up, but this person stood strong against them and became a hero, a symbol, and that spark ignited within them and led people on. Yes. That is all what you call ignition is. But we don't always get to choose what symbol we become, whether that is because of a spark or otherwise. How people perceive us matters, whether we want it to or not. The presence of the spark does not change that. If Scala did not return, if she had not come back, what do you think would have happened to this world?
What a question. I am not entirely sure, Wise One, but I suppose at some point the same injustices that created her the first time would repeat themselves.
Yes. The five of you never come together. The disciples of Lao seize control in Stone's Throw. Martine Sunvale is killed trying to stop them, and the genocide of the tieflings begins while people watch in silent supplication. We proposed a better way for these atrocities to happen. The arrival of a dread demon, a singular force that ire could be focused against and combated. Yes. Dia Scala, dread demons, they are nothing but what we make of them. They are the concentrated representations of the emotions that spawn them. But your people have come a very long way since my first children appeared. Perhaps the era of dread demons and goddesses is no longer necessary. I think we will find out in very short order. If you and yours can stand up and right this wrong, then perhaps it is time for things to change.
All it takes for a conflagration of change is a spark.
The being smiles at you.
Yes. Thank
Take-
you, Wise One.
Take these. And 5 gems appear. They are all gray, translucent almost, and they appear in your hand. Give one to each of your companions. You will have need of them eventually.
I will. You have my word.
Farewell, Sir Varus.
My lord,
Yes.
I am unworthy to hold even a moment more of your time. But in selfishness and supplication I ask it anyway, because I have remained silent for a very long time about the things that I want. And ironically, in doing so, I have hurt the people who trusted me most. I have met the woman you loved. I have seen her trapped. And I look now on the body you possess of a woman I once loved. And she is trapped. My lord, I am not a worthy knight. But I am the one that stands before you. I would ask, as humbly as I can, that you would join me in an oath. That not just against this India Scala, but for me, If you will help me save the woman I loved, then I swear to you, I will do the same for you.
The being seems to think about this for a moment before it gives a nod of assent. The pact is struck, then. Have faith, Sir Varys. You are on the right path. Know you this, as terrible and dark as things seem, what has happened, happened for a reason. What has happened had to happen. And you are on the path forward.
I will have faith, my liege.
And the flies scatter, and she returns to consciousness. If our order were still around, I would probably be tried for heresy again.
They are dead, Mirabelle. But you
Yes.
are not. And I will not abandon you again. He stands up.
She does as well. And she starts walking you towards the edge of the grove. And at the edge, she looks at you. I have thought a long time about what I would say if I saw you again. She looks at you, and you can see it in her eyes. There is a fondness, but there is also a lingering anger. You took my child from me. And I will never forgive you for that. As much as I want to. I don't think I ever will. And then she motions out to the forge. But she will. She is kind-hearted and wise and brilliant beyond anything I could have ever imagined of my child. And she needs you more than she'll ever admit. So if you would do right by me, do right by her.
Ferris will look into this ageless being's face, and without thinking, he just gently brings his hand up just to touch the tips of her fingers.
Mm-hmm.
I will. I promise you, Mirabelle. I will not let the failures of my past define either of your futures. I know I can never fix what I broke. I promise I will build something better with your daughter.
She looks at you for a long moment before she says, I believe you.
Lady,
Good Sir Knight.
he'll turn and leave.
She returns as well. We're going to jump on over to Rialta,
Back to me.
who got to go talk to her mama.
I gotta talk to my mom.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to my mom forever. Well, she had her husband and her son and her daughter die.
Yeah, she's had a rough time.
And her daughter-in-law. It's been a lot.
So you
like
head
a
on
god.
over to where your aunt directed you.
Yeah.
It's not hard to find. It is one of the larger trees in the area, and there seems to be some commotion around it. Unsurprisingly, being a military time period, there are a lot of injuries and people who come back and need to be patched up and put back in the field because there are no people to replace them. So the work done here at the hospital is extremely important work. And you do, as you peer in, you see Celeste. It has been a very difficult time for her, and it shows on her face. She does not look like she has aged 10 years. She looks like she has aged 30. Her hair has started to really go gray and start to silver over. She has deep crow's feet around her eyes and bags underneath them that signal she has not slept very well. But as she sees you, she seems to get 20 years younger as a humongous smile comes across her face. And she drops what she's doing and hurries on over to you and tackles you in a hug.
Thank goodness dwarves have low center of gravity.
Oh my stars above. Hello, Starlight.
Hello, Mother. You haven't lost everyone.
No, not everybody. Oh my goodness, look at you. You haven't aged a day.
It's really only been a day for me, if I'm honest. As in, well, it was an immediate sort of travel. I suppose when you travel through time, it would be only seconds that pass. That's not important. She kind of just plays with her fingers, kind of rambling when she's nervous.
She's just smiling very happily as tears are starting to sting at her eyes.
I'm sorry about Saren.
Oh. She nods. I know. Your brother was in pain.
You know, he did at the very end, he did help.
Did he?
Yeah, yes.
Is that just something you're telling your mother to?
No, he, honestly, he pulled one of his best tricks yet.
She kind of tilts her head. Really?
Yeah, he, well, he made an image of himself and even fooled me. And, so when, it seemed like he was going to be a goner, he still came back out. Loves that heat metal spell.
She kind of has to bring a hand up to wipe a tear away. Well, I am happy that he found himself in the end. And I know that Opal would be happy as well.
Yes, I imagine she would be proud of him.
She looks at you. Oh, honey.
Yes? Curls up sheepishly.
Are you okay? I know you cared a great deal about Opal.
She's like, how did everyone know and didn't say anything? She's,
No, she just shipped the two of you.
Oh, don't be like my mother. It's been not easy. But, well, weirdly enough, I actually got a chance to speak to her one last time. My journeys have been strange.
I can only imagine. Well, let me just tell you, though I'm sure you already know, and this is something every mother probably says, but your father would be so proud of you.
Yeah, I hope so. I think so.
And so would Saren.
Yeah,
I'm sure he died proud of you.
I hope so. She stands there and probably for the first time since we returned, starts to have tears well up, and she goes, I didn't really get to say goodbye to him.
Well, she kind of chuckles. If I know your brother, that is exactly how he preferred it. He hates saying goodbye.
Just like father.
Distressingly so, all too often.
Yeah. I would have had someone to introduce you to, but it seems he has gone rogue, so I don't know where he is.
Oh, right. Yuki had mentioned that there was
Oh dear.
a spark, as it were.
We don't like those.
He
Kind of scratched the back of her head. Well, yeah. I know that must be hard to believe.
It is. And yet, it is exactly what I would have imagined.
She tilts her head to the side, kind of confused.
Well, it would have to be a pretty special someone to land you.
Oh, mother. Oh, shucks.
Just saying, yeah, you're the daughter of the Dean of Education and at Heaven's Reach Observatory. You've got a pretty high position.
Yes, mother. Speaking of education. Speaking of education, I hear, I did meet Aunt Sapphire.
Yes. I suppose I owe you an apology on that one. I did not think I would ever see Sapphy again, but her and I stopped speaking, shortly after you were born, and
Things have changed. I understand.
yes, it is good to speak with her again.
Good. I'm glad. Mother, I'm glad you didn't take Scala's deal. I wouldn't have blamed you if you did, but I'm glad you didn't.
I wanted to, Rialto. I wanted to take her deal and pray to have you all back. Pray to have my family back. And all I could think was that I would be spitting in your face if I did. That I would become what my son did.
She nods. I wouldn't have blamed you, but I am glad you didn't. I'm glad you're here.
Too many of us aren't. But one day we will win. I believe that.
Well, they sure tried really hard to bring us to this point, so I don't really... It's kind of scary, you know? Everyone's looking up to us to solve the big problem. Been waiting for 10 years, and I just don't feel ready.
No one's expecting you to have all the answers. You didn't have all the answers 10 years ago. You just heard what must be done and decided you'd be the ones to do it. That's all being a hero is.
Yeah, I just wish we were 10 years wiser for all of you.
Well, take it from someone who is 10 years wiser, it doesn't feel like it.
Fair enough.
It's the funny thing about life, Rialta. Doesn't matter how many books you read or how much you think you know or how many people you talk to. You're still just making it up as you go along.
Yeah. I suppose that is true and infuriating.
That it is. That it is. I dedicated my life to books and to teaching, and... well,
Yeah, I like plans.
you like plans. That's true. Well, you've
Well.
done pretty well so far.
Thank you. Well, I still have a little bit of time before having to head over with everybody. Is there any help I can do here?
Oh, there's always work to be done here. and she takes you in and has you help her heal for a little while,
Yeah.
and is very impressed
Yeah.
at your abilities.
Pretty good at it.
She's pretty fucking blown away, and she's like, "Okay, oh, no wonder they think you're a fucking hero. Holy shit!"
What
bringing
does she
people
say
back,
about the
like, from
giant
the brink of
necrotic
death.
crow?
The necrotic crow, she's a little more iffy on, where she's like, "I don't know about that. That's kind of weird."
It lets me dual cast.
I'm just twin spelling.
It lets me twin spell mod. It's pretty cool.
How did you know what her final weapon does?
You
I
didn't
don't
know. Anyway.
see it.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Uh,
The god,
It's l-
the embodiment of the earth told me.
It's a little bit later in the afternoon when you all gather together at Silence Broken. And we play a new song.
I think Melody had to leave. Just to warn you.
Okay. Well, we're almost done. Okay. So you all find yourself gathered around the table with the large map up on the back wall of what the area looks like, of what the current state of Terracin looks like. And Carmen is smiling as she greets you. Melisandre is also there now. And she is just leaning up against the wall as she watches you all enter. Carmen smiles, bowing her head politely. Welcome back. It is surreal to see you all again.
That is one way to put it.
Feeling is similar, I think.
She walks over to you, Cerberus, and kind of gives you a look. And I'm happy to say that you are still as handsome as when you left.
You are too kind.
I am, aren't I?
Yes, I didn't even realize. Did you time travel with us? You don't seem to have aged a day.
Melisandre gives a look of, ugh. Yuki, on the other hand, is like, and noticing that Yuki does that, Melisandre's like, but Carmen kind of smiles at that.
Do not take Varys's flirting techniques. That could go very poorly. Oh boy.
But
I love it.
she nods.
At least you didn't call her old.
I mean,
He's not
that's
that
a
He's
fact.
got 20 charisma. He's not that fucking stupid.
Yeah, there
I
we
don't
go.
know. I mean, it's Ferris we're talking about.
He didn't even mention the grubs in his ass this time.
That is a step up. I would agree.
Step up.
Are they still wriggling in there?
I didn't do shit about him yet. They're in there.
Okay. So she nods and shows you the map. So, 10 years I've had to try to get something of a military put together. If I ever see Martine again, I will kill him, just so you all are aware, because he knows how to build an army and I don't.
Rialta is shuffling. Where is he exactly?
That's an outstanding question, but if you find him, stab him for me.
I tried the sending spell twice, but I'm afraid it didn't work.
Yeah, that would be about right. Sending magic is unreliable at best.
I will keep trying then. But regardless, you have done well for what you have been given.
Well, thank you. It has been no shortage of work, and Yuki and Melisandre have been unbelievably helpful in that time. Yuki kind of blushes. But at last, we do have the strength to actually strike out. Not against the Goddess's Rise, of course. That's her home base. But against her generals. We believe that to have any chance of forcing Scala back into this realm and make her possible to beat, those generals will need to be defeated. I have created a dossier on each of them for you with all the information that we have, which I apologize to say is limited in many cases. And I have arranged for you to have some aid in each of them. And if you all want to go look over in your handouts, you should see 5 mission dossiers that are
Oh, fancy.
available now in there.
Oh, look at that.
I'm clicking on the wrong thing. What part is handouts?
If you click over to the third tab that looks like a ID sort of, and then go down to handouts.
Got it.
Yep, there should be 5
see
mission
it.
dossiers.
I see it.
The first is the Army
There
of
you
the
go.
Dead. The target is the Red Lady, the Dread Demon of War. Her current location is Mina's Grove. We have some known contacts in the area. Rashaya is currently operating in Mina's Grove, and Coral Redmane is operating in Lorelei's Meat. I had planned to send Soraya with you, however, we have not seen her in some time, so instead I'll be going with you to handle the Army of the Dead. It is called that because the Red Lady keeps a pretty sizable army of undead with her, which has made facing her difficult. As for entering the area, we can have you cross the Bleakman River into Lorelei's Meat, and from there we will march on Mina's Grove. Unlike the other goddesses, she maintains as I say, a sizable standing army of undead. We do not have the numbers to defeat it, and worse still, everyone we lose becomes another of hers. That said, we have a large enough force now that we believe we could buy a group of assassins time to go finish her off. That is the Army of the Dead.
Yes.
To the northeast, Flora and Fauna, the dread demons of stagnation and pestilence, are operating. They're deep within the Blight Jungle. It didn't exist when you were here last time. It is a... jungle's a poor word for it. It's more of a bog, but it is nearly impossible to enter. The land itself will fight you. The whole area is covered in noxious fumes. Pestilence and plague ravages the area, but Kelsey has been working on a way to enter in. She would assist you in that, and she will travel with you. The only real way to get there would be to sneak past the Sin Hunters to the northeast who are burning the forest, and get past them and make your way over to the Blight Jungle. For Selena, the Dread Demon of Darkness, she has made her base in the moon, Ceres, that sits atop the Great Crystal Tree. I hesitantly say that Martine Sunvale is a known contact out there, but the last time we heard from him was he was heading through the Sorin Range to that side of the world. So he may still be there. Yuki will assist you and travel out with you if you wish to go that way. Cerberus, I have been made to understand that you have the ability to pass through trees now. Is that so?
Yes, so long as I've known them.
Then, having traveled to the Dawn Coast before, I would have you pass through trees to the Dawn Coast and make your way across to Selena's domain. You shouldn't really have too much difficulty moving around. It's still not particularly populated over there, so you won't have to worry too much about her people. That said, there are some significant challenges with getting to Selena. The moon atop the tree is very high up. We estimate that Heaven's Reach Observatory would only be about a quarter of the height of the top of this tree.
Oh.
Indeed. Breathing gets very difficult up there, as does climbing that far. So you'll have to find a suitable way up, but it will not be easy. To the north, Talia, the Dread Demon of Endings, has made her base in Roktala. Unfortunately, we have no known contacts in Roktala, but Lana is operating within the domain, and we will try to get in touch with her to have her meet you there. Best way is, just as with going to the northeast, sneak by the Sin Hunters to the north and enter into the wastes. Roktala is no longer mobile, though we have precious little information to go off of. As I say, Lana has not checked in now in a few months, but a small oasis was located near the central part of the former desert. Lana was leading a group of survivors there last we heard, so that would be my best guess for you. And finally, Evelyn, the Dread Demon of Sorrow, and the Matriarch, Dread Demon of Grief, are both operating to the west of here. We don't actually know where Evelyn is based out of. She hasn't been seen ever. So I don't have a ton to go with on that one. I do have a known contact for you in Icelock. Tashira is there, and Ambrosia is operating out of Mitra Centauran at the moment. Melisandre will accompany you for this job. Things are relatively quiet in this domain. Most people there seem to be quite content. There is no standing army, so that should make things relatively easy. The bigger difficulty is that, as I say, we've never actually seen the Dread Demon of Sorrow. Never seen Evelyn, so we don't actually know where she is or what she looks like. I can tell you that the matriarch has made her home in Mitra Centauran, and she rules over them there. Where you go first is entirely up to you. But we will support you and supply you in whatever way is necessary.
While she was listing all of those off, Caldana has had those like purple flames that sometimes shield her, kind of like sputtering around herself as she glares at Mina's Grove. Let me at the Red Lady and we'll see who makes a better demon of war.
Damn.
Well, Red Lady is
Oh
the
my.
closest one.
Would the elimination of the Red Lady relieve significant pressure off the God's grasp on your supply lines? There's a tactical consideration to take these choices.
It would give us access to the southern God's Grass Forest below the Bleakman. It would also free up our connection to the Fey Forest to get us more, to get Fey blood for healing demonic wounds. And it also would help supply our store of iron for creating weapons again from the mountains.
That is a lot of reasons. Who is our contact down there again?
Coral Redmane, I believe you have all met. He was in Mina's Reach a long time ago.
I see.
He seemed to know you.
Right.
He's operating in Lorelei's Meat, and Rashaya, who used to run the Tieflings of Lockheed's Haven and Mina's Grove, is still in
Right.
Mina's Grove.
Yes, he was the matron there.
Yes.
I'm not against heading there first. It is close. That means we'd have strong supply lines. We have known associates. And, Ver sort of glances at Caldana. There is certainly a passion, which is always useful in these things, so long as we are not reckless.
She hands you all the dossier on the Red Lady. Very well, then. The Red Lady it is. We will prepare our military. There will be no way to get into Mina's Grove under normal circumstances, but if we march an army on her, well, she is the Dread Demon of War, I do not think she will resist riding out to meet us. That may buy you the opportunity that you need.
Perhaps. Nothing like the impression of a good, clean fight.
The first order of business, then, will be to get you all to Lorelei's Meat. But before we do that, I understand you all are in need of some weapons. At that, Kelsey enters in, and she has a large rucksack on her back. All right, I assume that means it's my turn. So, as I, by the way, great to see you all again. She has a big jovial smile on her face. She looks really excited about this. Great to see you all again. You all look terrible, but not as terrible as many people around here do. So anyway, let's get you all some weapons, shall we? I hear your weapons stopped working. That's the problem with goddess stuff. In this era, we use Siltech. Way better.
Very well. Demonstration, perhaps?
SIL Tech?
SYL Tech, actually. It's like Sylvan in technology.
Mixing
Quite
up
clever.
furniture and-
She nods. She looks to you, Falah. Your weapon seems to be doing fine.
Yes, I do not have this problem myself.
Clearly. Very well, then. But I have one for the rest of you. Rialta. She starts digging around in her pack. Let's see what I've got in my bag of goodies for you. And she withdraws. Where are you at? This one. She withdraws from you a sickle made by a master craftswoman. It has a Nodweir design on it, and by that I mean it uses the shaping of a claw for the actual sickle, designed basically on a large jungle cat's claws. But they have been infused with kind of a sylvan magic and a steel coating over them. You recognize this as a blend of, indeed, Enil and Nodweir techniques. Varys, you absolutely recognize the Nodweir techniques and the enchantments on it. They are very powerful enchantments. Rialta, your Siltech Sickle of the Stars is masterfully crafted. While holding this magic weapon, you gain a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with it, and you gain a +2 bonus to spell attack rolls and saving throw DCs of your druid and ranger spells. In addition, you can use the sickle as a spellcasting focus for your druid and ranger spells. It also gives you natural healer. The blade of this sickle is black as the darkest void, save the millions of glimmering stars embedded within it. These stars glow brightly while healing an ally. While wielding this weapon, whenever you cast a spell to restore someone's hit points, you may add your proficiency bonus to the total.
I am powerful.
There you are. I dropped that in the wrong chat.
I was able to put it in my inventory.
All right.
Because I am awesome.
And she looks very pleased with herself, as you seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, she's pretty happy about
She
it.
then looks over at you, Caldana. And out of the bag this time comes a big ol' honkin' greatsword. She's like, now I saw you when you were here last time, and I saw your cool feather sword, and it kind of inspired me, so I'm going to apologize. I sort of borrowed the Red Lady's design, which is kind of awkward because we're going to use it to kill her now, but hey, it should be great. I think she'd appreciate the irony. This great sword is, just like the other one, has been made using these same kinds of techniques. It is a blade of incredible quality. It is masterfully crafted as well, giving you a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with the weapon. It also has Phoenix Slash. By pressing a button embedded in the hilt of this weapon, coils laid within the blade will rapidly heat up, causing the sword to glow red. The position of the coils gives the blade a feather-like appearance in this state. When you hit an enemy, add 10 fire damage to the attack. In addition, if your attack is a critical hit, the enemy is set on fire, taking 2d6 fire damage at the start of each of their turns. They may use an action to douse the fire on their turn.
Damn.
Caldana will take it, hit the button, smile. This'll work.
This'll work. Kelsey gives you a big, excited grin at that. She's like, I'm so glad. I love happy customers. I mean, I say customers. I don't get paid anything for what I do. Like, no one does. We don't have money anymore, but it's fine. Anyway, she looks over at you, Melody. All right. Melody of the Purple. Great to see you again. Welcome back. So happy to get to talk with you again. I've got just the thing for you. It's a brand new instrument. It has never been played before. And some people who have heard it so far have said maybe that's for the best. But I think you can handle it.
It's a vuvuzela.
As she brings out a instrument, you have recognized this instrument, but not like this. It's a guitar, but it's not like any guitar you've ever seen. Usually they have like this hole in them where the sound reverberates and makes the actual music. This one doesn't seem to have that. And as she plucks the strings of it, it just emanates the music. She's like, I call this an electric guitar, and I think, I actually call it a Siltech guitar, but I think you're going to love it. It is also masterfully crafted. The Siltech guitar of the Protector is sturdily built and can survive the rigors of combat. It functions as a +2 warhammer and also adds +2 to the wielder's spell attacks and spell save DC.
Jesus.
In addition, it has the Protector's Arpeggio. As a bonus action, you play a heavy riff with a rising arpeggio, drawing the attention of enemies all around you. Until the start of your next turn, any enemy within 30 feet suffers disadvantage on an attack made against anyone but you. Any attacks against you are made at advantage.
Nice.
And she hands you the guitar.
Oh, come on.
And Melody looks at it for a moment. Kind of like hesitated when she took it. Looks at it and just kind of like puts it in playing position and just goes like. And she
Kelsey.
kind of like looks down at it and goes, "I'm gonna kick some patukas with this if that's okay."
Kelsey looks so excited. I have been practicing swinging at rocks for like the last month. It's going to work great. I'm not going to lie to you. If you all hadn't shown up, I would have punched Yuki's lights out because I worked really hard on these.
Rock. Yeah, that sounds right. I'm
Oh,
gonna
rock
make
music.
rock
I love it.
Music. Yeah.
Yes. I love that. Absolutely. And then she digs back into her pouch. And last but not least, for my dear father, who bore me from his loins
Oh.
Yeah, right.
and then left me in a forest.
Oh.
I
Do
I
that.
She
don't
seems-
think he's the one who. Anyways.
Anyway.
You what?
I have 2 items for you. The first one she takes out is a sword. It is a long sword, and it is beautifully made, much like Claw was. It has kind of that curved style to it, much like the sickle that Rialta has. But it is incredibly well made. It is also a +2 bonus to attack and damage rolls made with this magic weapon. It also has Nature's Vengeance. Once per round, when you hit with this weapon, you may cast Primal Savagery on the target as a bonus action.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
They're gonna get fucked.
It's badass as fuck.
This is incredible.
Oh, you think that's incredible? Wait till I show you the shield that goes with it.
Oh.
Sorry, Melody. Let me just get your guitar here and drop it in. Boom. There you go. And then she pulls out a shield. Or when she pulls out the shield, Varys, you go, like, in your mind, you can't help but think, like, you've been in that forge too long because it is a tiny shield. It's probably only like 6 inches across. It's more
boy.
like a big watch or sundial.
Right.
You're joking with me, Robbie, about the hamburger smasher. That's how big
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
All right.
That's kind of what it is. And then she grins and puts a finger up and then taps it, and it starts to spin. And you remember for a moment when you saw her armor and the way it worked, her gauntlets that would spin and generate electricity. This starts to do the same thing, and light emanates out the sides of it in all directions into a buckler shield.
That's
And she grins.
that's incredible. It's
Uh,
a shield made of sunlight?
It's made, it's made of electricity, which I'm using to create light, but it'll work just as well as sunlight, I promise you that. While holding this shield, you have a +1 bonus to AC. This bonus is in addition to the shield's normal bonus to AC, of course. It also has protection of the machine. When the bearer of this shield is in danger, they can press a button to set the shield into overdrive. For a brief moment, the light emanating from the shield glows brighter and more resilient. When you are attacked, you may add a +5 bonus to your AC as a reaction. Whether the attack hits you or not, the shield then discharges the overdrive enemy into the attacker, dealing 3d6 lightning damage.
Yeah. Holy shit.
And there you are.
Kelsey,
There is
this
your
is-
Siltec shield.
Absolutely incredible. You should be so proud.
I am. And Yuki goes, she is. Melisandre also goes, she is. Carmen also goes,
Well, thank you for your hard work on this.
oh, don't you worry. Wait till we go up to the Blight Jungle. I've got something amazing that you're going to all love. I call it a flamethrower. You're going to love it.
Flamethrower. Oh, that's
Uh-huh. I found out that if you make the fuel for the flamethrower, if you make it into a gel instead of into a liquid, it burns way hotter and way longer. It is very effective.
that sounds terrifying. What happens if the gel gets on somebody?
I would not get it on you under any circumstance because
What
water
about
doesn't put it out.
Noted.
What about if you threw that at like the army of the dead?
She thinks
And
about that
then-
for a long moment before
then
looking
did it.
over. She looks at over at at Carmen, who gives her a look like, "Is it ready for mechanical use in the field?" And she goes, "It's ready-ish."
I don't. What does that mean?
Every
Is-
now and then, one of the fuel canisters tends to explode before I put it in.
let's maybe fix
Well, but if we
that.
just don't use one of those fuel canisters, that wouldn't be a problem, right?
I completely agree. I think my father's got a great point. I think we should try it.
I
If
I
you
think I would have to veto this.
I mean, there's no better testing than field testing. That's what
Yeah.
I always said.
That's what I always say too. We're like
Right.
simpatico.
I don't know what that means.
If you have anyone who's of the Scarlet, you could also kind of like give it to them because they kind of
Tashira
they can-
is in Ice Lock.
It's true. If we have fire-resistant people, we don't have to worry about them burning.
Last time I wanted to do some experimenting on Tashira, she was not a fan.
Did you ask for consent?
Anyway, I hope you all enjoy your new weapons. They're pretty amazing, and I will see you all when you're ready to go to your next place. Or if you need anything, if you break any of my stuff, don't tell me. I will be mad. Anyway, see you later. And she starts going off. She's fine. She's doing great.
But
At-
I can.
at-
All right.
Okay.
She
Don't
said
Don't worry,
father
she's not
quite a
throwing
few
herself in
times.
her work as a way to like divert and run away from her problems. What the fuck are you talking about?
Nope.
Anyone else ever feel a chill down their spine every time she said the word father?
A
Is
little.
that just me?
Actually, Varys and Caldana, I can assist you with those demon scars.
I forgot I had this. Oh my god, is that where the grubs came from?
Oh, it's probably where they went to.
Oh
You-
yeah,
you
they're
keep-
in there.
You keep mentioning these grubs. What?
Oh, I
don't
slept
think
I
we
slept
want
near a coffin
to
and I got grubs in my ass.
Why?
Varys, would you like your demon scars to go away?
Carmen, Melisandre, and Yuki all just look at you.
Yeah, I probably could do with some of the demon
Okay.
scar.
She
That's-
casts Greater Restoration. Caldana, are you going to be angsty, or do you want your scars to go away? I need them as a reminder. Reminder of what I've done.
Phrase it like that.
Are you gonna be angsty? Are you gonna be maximum
Well,
emo?
she's just
or,
gonna
like,
offer because she
what?
can do that. So, but if you say no, she won't force you. She'll just think it's weird.
Probably better it doesn't bleed everywhere if we get in a fight.
It's a good thing not to bleed everywhere in a fight. Yes.
I agree.
Carmen nods
Rule number one of
sagely.
night school: bleed in as few places as possible during a fight.
It's also rule number 1 of thief school, ninja school, and cleric school. Interestingly.
Regular
Oh.
school too.
No.
I cast Greater Restoration on both Cerberus and Caldana for their demonic scars.
Beautiful.
Listen,
And-
is she maybe kind of mad that she never got to do this for Martine? Yes. Does it matter? No.
No one
And-
has any like
No, Martine's got
issues.
demon
No,
scars
everyone
plus
is
1.
hunky dory right now.
Okay,
No
but the real-
underlying issues
Wait.
or unresolved
Wait.
tensions. Nope.
I don't know if all the grubs were out before you healed that.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
they're
that's
gonna-
okay. The grubs
Look,
got healed
don't
too.
worry. I know heat bug.
I know everyone
It's
is gonna
called
give me shit
inducing a
for asking
fever.
this, do we still have scars?
I would say you do still have a remnant scar.
All right. Well, Varys is cool with that. He's
Yeah.
gonna wear his. He's gonna wear a V-neck full plate.
Oh my god.
Really show off that chest scar.
And I think as you all get prepared to accept your mission, that is where we'll wrap up for tonight.
Yes.
Hell
Let's go.
yeah.
The Whispers in Silence, reunited, rearmed,
Yeah.
Yes.
and ready to head out on
And
the
everything
next
is
leg.
fine. And this
And
is
everything's
all
great.
temporary, and
It's
we're
all right.
great.